right into poker hour.
We're going to go live.
Okay. Here we go.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Committee on Education, Finance, and Taxation now convenes this public hearing. The public hearing notices were given to the media. First notice on Tuesday, February 13, 2018. Second notice on Wednesday, February 21st, 2018. For the record, today is March 2nd, 2018, and the time now is 9:00 a.m. The committee will hear and accept testimonies, both oral and written, on the following. But first, I'd like to recognize Senator Will Castro for joining me this morning. The hearing will begin with the referral of appointment of Ms. Roberta M. Abaday, position Committee at Large Member, Guam Commission for Educator Certification. Term length is 3 years. And that's from the date of confirmation. And then also Bill number 159-34 COR, as introduced by myself, co-sponsored by Senator Castro, Senator Rodriguez, an act to amend 6102 of Article 1, Chapter 6, Division 2 of Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to extending the duty to send children to school from the age of 16 years to the age of 18. The conduct of this public hearing shall be as follows. Those testifying will be recognized in the order of sign-in sheet. Written testimony may be read. Lengthy written testimony should be summarized to about 5 minutes. I'm looking at Ms. Roberta. She's probably got a 20-minute one, but that's okay. We'll work with you. Written testimony shall be submitted to the committee. Please provide our legislative staff with your written testimony for photocopying. Testimony shall be confined to the substance of this public hearing. Individuals will be allowed to present oral testimonies only once. Once you are done, you may be asked to remain in the room for questions or for additional testimony, as may be desired by members of the panel. When you speak, please make sure the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. Please state your name for the record. We will now begin the testimony, and we will begin with we have here Ms. Roberta Abaday is here, Ms. Leah Santos, Ms. Gail Hendrix, and Ms. Lisa Baza Cruz. And we'll begin. Will you be testifying, ma'am? No? You're just here to support her, right? Great. So we will begin with Ms. Abaday, please.
Thank you for this opportunity to express my interest and commitment to become a community at-large member of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification as identified in Public Law 2973. I am uniquely qualified for the position on the Commission. In September 2017, I retired from 30 years of service to the Guam public school system. As a teacher for over 40 years, I have experience in both private and public schools and have had the opportunity to work with other teachers in committees, as a workshop presenter, and as a member of accreditation visiting teams. I have been recognized for my dedication in the 1998 Guam Teacher of the Year Award, and I worked diligently to become a National Board Certified Teacher, which was accepted for renewal in November. I am currently continuing my teaching career as an adjunct professor at the School of Education at the University of Guam. I have taught courses at UOG for almost 20 years, with the last few years devoted to preparing new teachers for the schools. As a provider for workshops and courses, I stay current with the best practices and research on education. Besides my extensive experience in education, I also bring my experience as a committee member, first for the Yamashita Educator Corps Council, and then for the Guam Commission for Educator Certification. As an original member of GCEC, I was responsible for researching certification requirements, meeting with teachers, counselors, and librarians, as well as composing, along with the Commission, the rules and regulations, currently the law for certification. I led the Commission as chairperson and was accepted for a second term of 3 years, and at that time worked on the creation of the ethics portion of the Educator Certification law. I am able to share the background knowledge and historical memory of the Commission since its inception. I have kept up to date with the GCEC activities and have provided workshops on the certification process in my previous school, John F. Kennedy High School. If I have the opportunity to serve as a community at-large member, I will bring the same commitment to GCEC as when I was a teacher representative. I hope you will give favorable consideration to my nomination, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to provide my testimony to Senator San Agustin and Senator Castro.
Thank you, Ms. Abaday. Ms. Santos?
Good morning, Honorable Senator San Agustin and Senator Castro. My name is Leah Santos, and I'm the Executive Director of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification. I support the appointment of Roberta Abaday to the Commission, and she meets the requirement for Public Law 29-73 for a community representative. Roberta has taught in Father Dueñas and is a retired DOE teacher. She's as well as an adjunct professor at the UOG. She is a National Board Certified Teacher and has been 1998 National Teacher of the Year Award from Guam. She is an awesome teacher who volunteered for additional responsibilities at JFK High School. The nominee is also involved in numerous the island community as a Tai Chi instructor, a certified instructor for Komi doll making, and a dedicated volunteer for the Humunla Collection of African Arts in Jigo. Roberta was the first chair of the GCEC, and she has been active and she was instrumental in drafting the GCEC rules and regulations as well as the ethics educator law. She is an asset to the Commission, and she has willingly volunteered her time for the GCEC committees. She has shared her experience and assisted the staff in resolving certification issues. Thank you, and I thank you for your support.
Thank you. Ms. Hendrix?
Thank you, Senator. Good morning. First, I would like to thank this body, thank you, Senator, and thank the legislature for the previous nominees who have been confirmed. I am here in full support of Mrs. Abaday's reappointment to the commission. I forgot to say, I'm Gail Hendrix. I'm the current chairperson of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification. I've known Mrs. Abaday for over 30 years. I've worked closely with her. We have worked through accreditation projects when we were both at John F. Kennedy High School. I have worked with her on the commission. I have worked with her in the community. And the one thing that I will say, without repeating everything that has already been said this morning, is that she is a full supporter of quality, high quality education. And she is willing to hold people accountable for their behaviors, their actions. She's not afraid to step up and say, no, we can't do it that way. And I really feel that she will be a very big asset when she returns to the board. So I humbly request your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Castro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Abaday, for accepting the nomination to come back. And I want to thank you publicly for your contribution to the community as an educator and as a citizen volunteer. When I read through your dossier about what you've done and where you're going, I just want to publicly state it makes me proud to be a teacher. You have my unequivocal support.
All right. You know, Ms. Abaday, I'm just surprised this is only a 3-year. Maybe we need to change the law that if a member is, a person's nominated to any commission, that they're automatically renewed unless advised by the appointing official that there's a separate nominee. Because I remembered you when you first got on the commission, because I was the chairman of the board, and you were like, let us work it. I said, okay, Roberta, do your thing. And it's been a success. I gotta admit that. It's been a success. It was something new to the Department of Education, but all I hear is success, accountability. People, if you're not certified, sorry, you can work somewhere else. Maybe this is not the profession you need to be in. But all I've heard was success, and seeing your name again, Ms. Abaday, it's an honor and privilege. to be on this side of the street now, not at the Board of Education, but to assist in asking all my colleagues to support your nomination. I honestly believe that majority of them will raise their hand when they ask for your confirmation. Other than that, but thank you for accepting your nomination, and I look forward to seeing you in action with your, was it today's former colleagues, soon to be your colleagues again. And unless you have anything you want to ask us, I look forward to submitting your packet to the Committee on Rules today. And if we keep going into sessions every day next week, I will ask it to be voted on also.
Okay. Thank you, Sandra, for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And that completes the nomination for Ms. Abaday. Thank you. Now we will proceed to Bill 159-34. And I would ask, and I'll ask the UOG staff, students, soon to be teachers, soon to be the directors of the government of Guam, please come forward. We will now hear on the bill number 159-34, an act to amend 6102 of Article 1, Chapter 6, Division 2 of Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to extending the duty to send children to school from the age of 16 years to the age of 18, basically increasing the compulsory age. This bill was introduced by myself, Senator Castro, and Senator Rodriguez. Well, I'm going to read off the legislature of intent so we all understand. And just to advise the folks that are here today that this is a second hearing on this bill. And it was called for because the folks here today wanted to testify. Okay? But the intent, while the high school program to the Department of Education Guam provides education students to the age of 18 and beyond, if the student is in need of special education, there's no duty in Guam law for parents, guardians, or other persons having control or charge of a child to send that child to school until the age of 16. Although there is an opportunity for a child at that age to obtain employment or engage in another worthy activity. Also, cutting short of a child's education program shortchanges the child's future and in all likelihood leaves him or her without the necessary skills to contribute meaningfully to society over the long term. Since a 16-year-old is a minor under the jurisdiction of a parent, guardian, or other person having control of the minor, it is proper for the duty to send a child to school to the age of 16 to be imposed on the parent, guardian, or other person having control of the minor. That's the legislature intent, and I'd like to ask, gosh, I was going to say I'll start with the ladies. We got one here, we got four here. Oh, I like that, point down here. So we'll start with you, ma'am, if you can please just turn on the mic, speak on the mic, and you're on. And okay. Identify who you are, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator San Agustin and Senator Castro. Good morning and half a day. My name is Elizabeth Affligui, and I am a senior in the Bachelor of Social Work program at the University of Guam. I am here today to testify in support of Bill 159-34, an act to amend the dropout age from 16 to 18 years old. I believe that it is important to raise the dropout age because education is a vital aspect in any adolescent's life. Our island talks highly about the importance of education, but yet we are still giving the children the opportunity to drop out of school. With changing the dropout age, it would allow the children to expand their knowledge in a school community with their peers. It will allow the children to mature and explore who they really are and what they really want to do in life. If the children drop out at 16 years old, what can they really do with themselves? As I spoke with various people within our community about this issue, of course it was granted to get many responses in opposition. But on a brighter note, it's important to know that there are still many people behind us in support of this concern. A common reason as to why people in our community support this bill is because they believe these children aren't ready to make a decision such as dropping out. One story that stood out the most was from someone whom is very close to me, my sister. I come from a family of 3 siblings, the eldest whom was a product of a high school dropout. When I spoke with her about the personal experience in her life, she shared with me that it was definitely a stupid decision. She did it because she was lazy and thought she knew everything. But through the struggles and difficulties she had encountered after dropping out, not having that high school diploma put her in a hole. Fortunately, she was able to obtain a job at that moment, but even at that, the job didn't last too long. When that door closed, it was difficult to obtain another one. During her time away from school, she really didn't do anything with herself. It wasn't until one day she put her stubbornness aside and finally listened to our parents. She opened her eyes and realized the importance of school and went back to play catch-up. She eventually graduated and got her GED through a Smoojow community school. After that, life for her became a little more easy and manageable. She served in the U.S. military, she is financially stable with a family, has a good career, and importantly, will be graduating from Guam Community College this spring. Hearing her story was hopefully and is an eye-opener to not only who are present here today, but to the entire community of Guam. It is also a reminder to myself on the importance of education and how necessary it is in today's society. You can't do anything with at least having a high school diploma, but even at that, some work agencies and job titles require much more, such as having a bachelor's degree or higher. In conclusion, let's take a moment to put on the shoes of being a parent whose child has or will drop out at the age of 16. How would you feel? Would you be concerned about their future? We are not doing this to punish the children. We are doing this to discipline them in a sense of why gaining an education is vital. We are doing this for their own good, for the betterment of not only their future, but also the future they can give to our island. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Buenas noches, senators. Manana Jesus. Donklunus Jesus Mosi parifinato mizu pagno Ogaan. Bago na momento malagozo na bino yamzu agradecimento para itempo mizu pagno Ogaan. Tano. For the non-Chamorro speakers, good morning. Thank you for your presence this morning, and thank you for your time that you have given us to speak here this morning. We greatly appreciate it. My name is Joe Garrido. I am a 22-year-old senior at the University of Guam, majoring in social work with a double major in Chamorro studies. And I'm here in support of Bill 159-34, an act to amend the dropout age from 16 to 18. Come May of this year, after graduation, I hope to enter the Guam Department of Education and help educate our island's future, not only on the Chamorro language, culture, and customs, but the importance of being well educated and the many doors education opens for us. It is safe to say that these same children I will one day be teaching will be on that same road, setting the path for their children. It is safe to say that these children will soon be adults, contributing to society like every one of us here in this room. Lastly, I am sure that everyone can agree, it is safe to say that our island's future lies in the hands of our children. And as a result, raising the dropout age from 16 to 18 will allow these children for more classroom time, educational opportunities, options in the future, mobility, intelligence, and resourceful information that one can carry with them when they exit high school and enter the real world. In today's world, we are structured on a cash economy, meaning in order to survive in today's world, we need money. No job, no money. And with no money, our resources begin to shrink and our opportunities become limited. It is no surprise to anyone that most of the opportunities that are out there require a minimum requirement of a high school diploma. Even entry-level jobs that require no skill or talent whatsoever have a minimum requirement of a high school diploma. And because of these reasons, I am in support of Bill 159-34. At 18 years old, you are legally an adult, meaning you have reached that age to properly function and contribute to society. You have reached that age to vote. You have reached that age to properly make decisions on your own without anyone's say-so. Additionally, at that age, you are given the right for full-on self-determination. In this case, only at 18 years old should you be given the right to finish school or not. In the United States, the unemployment rate for high school dropouts is extremely high, varying anywhere from 30 to 55% of unemployed high school dropouts. Here are some statistical information in the United States. In 2009, 55% of high school dropouts were unemployed. In 2012, 49.6%. 13, 30%. And in 2016, 31.9% of high school dropouts were unemployed. Let's move on to our island. In school year 2010 to school year 2011, there was a total of 641 of the total high school population that have dropped out. And that's 6.8%. In school year 2013-2014, a total of 520 students of the total high school population have dropped out. And in school year 2016-2017, there's a total of 243 high school dropouts here on our own island. We have all these statistical information we need right in front of us. All we have to do is act on it. Ni tana siguro na sempre maulig mo na ilinaalania ni famagoonta sa idesisyonta pago parutulay kay ilinaalania. Jesus Masi.
Thank you, Mr. Garrido. Tomorrow. Sir.
Hafide public officials, Committee on Education, and members of our community. My name is Adrian Davis. I am a senior in the social work program at the University of Guam. I'm here to provide testimony to support the efforts of Bill 159-34. Dropping out of high school can create problems for an individual, their families, or even in their life. Being able to drop out at 16 to take on the world by themselves is not a wise decision, as I personally experienced this. I dropped out of high school at the age of 16 from enduring bullying and not meeting the expectations of society. I became a financial responsibility for those around me. By the time I turned 18 years old, I have wandered the workforce in search of a job that can support me, but can also accept me for not having a high school diploma. This search took 2 years and I could not find a job. After going through an emotional state, it prompted me to obtain my adult high school diploma with the Guam Community College. It is when I entered back into school that I realized what the value of education was. My initial goal was to get my diploma and leave. With the help of my mentors at GCC, I pursued an associate's degree, leadership positions, and many positive relationships which have built me. Today, I'm here before you because I do not want another person to drop out and go through the struggles that I did. Students need outlets to express what they are going through, and school creates that for them by giving them an avenue to socialize away from home. Not everybody establishes their identity, but with the help of other peers present in their life, they can be there for each other even when they have graduated, because the search for one's identity does not stop at high school. They can go together by proceeding into the phase of life after high school by strengthening their relationships and building trust within themselves and their community. Also, wandering the workforce without a diploma can cause problems to the individual. There are times that I felt discriminated because I was not given a job because I lacked a diploma. I started to question my worth as a person despite the fact I had a few years of experience while applying for a job, but it didn't matter. For most jobs out there today, the minimum requirement is a high school diploma. Because this phase has caused a strain on my emotional being, my close relatives who lacked a high school diploma felt responsible for contributing to my decision to drop out. I did not intend for them to bear the burden, but they saw that it was not setting a good example as a role model. The current effort that I am participating in is the Adult High School Be Cool, Stay in School mentorship. With the help of Patricia Terlahi, a GCC counselor, and the adult high school students and alumni, we are able to mentor students in the high schools, in the public high schools, who are at risk of dropping out by sharing our personal stories and struggles. And based upon the surveys, we do create a change in the students as we help them realize that they do have advantages while remaining in their current high schools. Some students have asked for our group to come back and speak to a bigger group because they feel that our mentorship is necessary. We remind them that they have the necessities such as public transportation, the busing, the free lunch meals, and also books that they don't have to pay. Within the adult high school program, we had to find our own transportation, also our own ways of paying for our own food, and paying for books and tuition as well. These are all our struggles that we have gone through. I hope that sharing part of my story and efforts can help pass this bill, because it is an injustice to the students' education to allow them to leave school at the age of 16 unprepared to enter the workforce. I thank you all for providing us with this space to share our testimonies today. What I ask is not to let history repeat itself or create another Adrian Davis. Pass this bill and help our island. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am.
Hafide and good morning, Senators. My name is Melania Pecha. I am a senior in the social work program at UOG. I, too, am in favor of Bill 159-34, an act to amend the dropout age from age 16 to 18. Today, I just wanted to share a few reasons as to why I am in favor of pushing this bill forward. I come before you as one of the statistics who has also dropped out of high school when I was just 17. Because of this decision I made, you can imagine the struggles I endured trying to make ends meet. My intentions are not to bore you with my personal story. Instead, my intentions are to paint the picture of what would happen should a teen decide to opt out of school as I did if Bill 159-34 is not passed. Life will be hard for an individual who chooses to drop out of high school before the age of 18. Chances of acquiring a decent job will be scarce, and money needed to provide will not come easily. Dead-end jobs and long-term dependency on public assistance is what one has to look forward to. Sadly, most dropout individuals will usually find themselves victims to the cycle of poverty. Having the option to drop out of high school before the age of 18 should not even be an option. Had this bill been in place at my time of schooling, I would have been forced to take responsibility and accountability for myself, my family, future, and for the betterment of my community. I am in a much better place. However, it has taken years for me to get to where I am today. Whereas had I stayed in school, I would have obtained my degree and started my career at a much earlier time. Senators, let's not produce more examples like me. Let's do better for our future generation and make their future a priority by making education mandatory until they are of the legal age to decide otherwise. If we raise the compulsory age to 18, children will learn the value of education and its progress, learning pivotal skills to succeed in post-secondary education and in the workforce. Passing this bill would greatly increase graduation rates, curtailing dropout rates, lead students to obtain better job opportunities, which is beneficial for a good quality of life. Most especially, it highly supports individuals in becoming contributing members to society, which I believe is what Guam needs more of. Passing this bill not only promotes the value of education, it also states the importance of our youth's future. It is for these reasons that I am in favor for passing Bill 159-34. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Senators, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Ma'am, you're next.
Abaday, and good morning. My name is Joyce Borja. I am 23 years old. I am a senior at the University of Guam. I'm a part of the social work cohort as well as the University ROTC program. I am here in support of Bill 159-34. So why should we continue to care about raising the compulsory school age from 16 to 18? Found in Guam Juvenile Justice Reform, 343 youth were in juvenile probation, 225 youth were status offenders, and 173 youths were in drug court. All these three categories amount to having over 700 court-involved youth, and facts don't stop there. Data provided in this report goes to show that there is a link between youth, crime, and the youth not attending school. I strongly feel that requiring youth to stay in school for an additional 2 years gives them the opportunity to remain in a positive learning environment as opposed to them being out on the streets where we risk their involvement in various crimes. Setting the dropout age as young as 16 leaves our youth to deal with adult life situation at a younger age, and unfortunately, this leads them to seek help from the government in other areas, such as the island's welfare system. If our island remains the minimum age to attend school at 16, we're doing our youth an injustice, for we set them a low standard in efforts to support them in fulfilling their maximum potential. Our youth would be prone to feeling of regret as well as hate and negativity towards the government and the failure to help them succeed. I wanted to obtain additional information from someone who has experienced the educational system. Juan Flores has been in the educational system for almost 36 years, also served as its superintendent of Guam Public School System. According to Juan Flores, some of the thoughts of the compulsory school age of 16 to 18 would only fix a part of the problem. By increasing the age from 16 to 18, a student would be older, perhaps more informed or mature to make a decision on school attendance. However, there is a systematic problem towards the resources allocated to effectively support such a change, such as the infrastructure, teachers, buses, supplies, as well as holding families accountable for the learning and progression of their child. The school policy also states that a student has 6 years at the time of entry to complete requirement of high school diploma. Having an extension of the typical 4 years may also worsen the issue of students not earning their diploma on time or at all. Some suggestions that can help address the accommodation of more students in the high school. 1. Would increase the compulsory school age in increments. Complete the eventual increase at several years by adding a half a year each academic. So for year 1, we'll have 16 and 6 months. By year 2, we'll have 17-year-old. By year 3, we'll have 17-year and 6 months. By year 4, it will be 18-year-olds. This will give GDOE time to prepare for the increase in high school population. Preparations such as finding grants or finding other ways for funds to come from the budgetary and infrastructure concern. If there were more students in the school, there would be more needs for classroom teachers, school-age workers, busing, supplies, etc. Number 2, modify the charter school law to allow the development of a more charter high school that will focus on what a child wants, needs, careers, technical education, performing arts, Chamorro language and culture, advanced college prep, etc. 3, make adjustments on the policy of verification of individuals who are on the welfare and food stamp. Instead of just verifying in September, add another month that would require students to have to maintain attendance for the month of September all the way till May. Currently, the month of September is the time where parents or guardians enroll their child or children in school for verification or qualification of public assistance. The month of May could be the time to verify that students have stayed in school and completed school. This would increase the support from family members, ensuring that their child stays in school. In conclusion, I strongly feel that our island needs to increase the compulsory school age from 16-year-olds to 18-year-olds so that we don't send our youth off unprepared to tackle the workforce and then wonder why we have to distribute more funds to accommodate government assistance that serve what we later label as a problematic population. I commend the Guam Department of Education in providing several programs to help students successfully complete high school, such as night schools, credit recovery programs. Whether it may take them over the standard of 4 years to do so, I feel this route is better than just giving them the options to call it quits. In order to remedy the program of the future, policies on families, schools, and community linkage, such as the found within the policy statement of education of children and adolescents, needs to be strengthened in our island's community. Families play a critical role in our youth's education and should be held responsible for their success. Increasing the compulsory school age from 16 to 18 would only show the youth that as a community, that we will ensure that every child is given all opportunities to help them succeed in life, such as not dropping out of school, which would help them move to a step closer to completing their education. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Half a day and good morning, Committee on Education, Finance, and Taxation. My name is Brenna Manguni, and I am a 49-year-old senior UOG social work student and a single parent of 5. I am here in support of Bill number 159-34. I recommend that we pass this bill into law to discourage students from dropping out of school early without being prepared to go into a workforce not readily capable of meeting the needs of the 21st century employers. As a single parent with 5 children, I take education seriously to ensure that my children are equipped with knowledge and skills to be able to compete in a demanding marketplace and be a productive member of our community. I place education as a priority in our household in spite of obstacles and challenges with having multiple teenagers. According to Family Civil Liberties Union website, a U.S. data of single household indicated the following statistics. 71% of all high school dropouts are from single-parent household. That is 9 times more likely to drop out of high school compared to students in 2-parent household. Then there's also the 63% of youth suicides who are coming from the single-parent household, which is 5 times more likely to commit suicide compared to youth in 2-parent household. And last but not least, there is 85% of all children that exhibit behavioral disorders that comes from single-parent household, which is 20 times more likely to have a behavioral disorders compared to children in a two-parent household. These are just some of the U.S. data that shows a dire statistics from single-parent household. Unfortunately, I was unable to find information about single-parent household data for our island of Guam. Let us not give students and parents the easy way out when things do not go their way for the reason I just mentioned above. Instead, make parents accountable as part of their responsibilities to their children by ensuring their children are enrolled in school until the age of 18 years. By enacting this law, here in our island of Guam, we will join the 24 states and the District of Columbia currently requiring students to attend school until they turn 18. Let us empower families, especially the single-parent household, the opportunity to gain knowledge and skills by increasing the dropout age from 16 years to 18 years. I am a single parent and an advocate. I am for the enactment of Bill number 159-34. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Sir.
Good morning, Senator Agustin and Senator Castro. I am Dabangg from University of Guam School of Education and the 31st Guam Youth Congress. And back in last January of 2017, the Youth Congress has passed a similar bill to what Bill 159-34 have did. So the only difference is that we tend to raise the penalty from $50 to $75. The reason is that some people get $50 an easy way to just pay the penalty instead of following the law. So first of all, I'm grateful that Senator Sen Agustin and Senator Castro and Senator Rodriguez made a bill that's similar to what I sponsored before. This measure would motivate students to go to school and dream bigger. I also think that it will be great for Guam's future because more people would have profession and better jobs. Often parents tell their children to drop out and have a job, but I'll say that's wrong. This early school leaving is linked with other indicators of socio-economic disadvantages such as low-income jobs or high unemployment. Lastly, students will do well in class because they have to stay in high school for a longer period, not only for 2 to 3 years. I believe that it will be an advantage for government because students who drop out of high school tend to end up in the wrong direction, like relying to government services or worst scenario, ending up in the correction system. We all know that we have economic crisis as of the moment, which I hope that we resolve soon. Keeping Guam youth in school has a lot of benefit, like keeping them safe, but running a public school costs a high figure of money. But I think it will be better if we invest to the future of our island, and those are the youth of Guam. If the Youth Congress passes this measure, I think the 34th Guam legislature can do so. And once again, I commend Senator Sen Agustin, Senator Castro, and Senator Rodriguez for introducing Bill 159-34. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd ask Senator, I have a bunch of questions for you folks, but I'll let Senator Castro first speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming here this morning and putting in some of your time to share your thoughts. Some of your stories were very personal. I had the privilege of meeting with you folks on a Saturday for what was supposed to be a short interview. I think we ended up talking for about 2.5 hours, and I learned a lot from each of you, and thank you for sharing your life experiences with me. The chairman and I were conferring on the side based on the Youth Congress's bill. Mr. Representative, would you be addressed as Mr. Congressman or Senator? Seriously, so how would I address members of the Youth Congress?
I think your representative will be fine.
Representative, okay, Mr. Representative. So in discussing your bill, or the bill is passed, I think we've agreed to revisiting the fine for parents who do not comply with the law. Okay, so take that back to your team and know that we'll revisit it, possibly with an upward adjustment. With respect to a lot of you folks in your testimony, you know, policymakers, we can draft legislation and put it forward that's devoid, that's absent of your sentiments. But I always, and I'm sure the chairman feels the same, I always find a lot of comfort and confidence in knowing that what we're doing is headed in the right direction and consistent with what we believe to be in the best interest of the community, when it's that peer group, that entity that will be affected coming forward in advocacy to do something to benefit yourselves, in this case an entire generation, an entire demographic of folks 18 and below. So thank you for stepping forward and basically telling us that if we had it our way, we would like to stay in school for as long as we could, up until the legal age of 18. And I don't want to rehash what we talked about, but a lot of you covered it. The goal-setting component, life-changing skills and knowledge, being college and career ready, the benefits of a single parent going to school, ultimately benefiting the entire community. So it's a collective good. So thank you so much for coming out and reiterating your support for the bill as you had shared last Saturday. And it's nice to meet a few of you folks in the social work program. Mr. Representative, thank you. Situs Masi.
First, I'd like to thank you all. You know, we met at the office. I'd advise you that we did have a hearing on this, but you wanted to testify. I said, we'll do another hearing. On any bill that we do introduce, before we submit it and folks come out to ask for another hearing, I have no problem having hearings. So we can have hearings 3 or 4 until we know the community is aware it's coming, get ready, here it is. And I really appreciate your testimony. I can feel it. I have 9 grandchildren, okay, and I want to make sure that every one of them graduate. I told them, I don't care what you do, what trouble you get into, you are not getting out of school. You will graduate. Then you can decide. On the area that the Youth Congress brought up, we wanted 50, you wanted 75. Could we generally agree that 100 may be the proper amount? See, everybody's agreeing. The reason why I ask that is because when anything is addressed in the hearing, the committee can amend the bill and add it on before it goes to the floor for vote. I'd also like to ask that, what would you like to consider? Because I know you all seen the bill. I had thought at one time that maybe there should be a what that they have, where they have the parents with the child in school. You know, when the what's that, what they call it? The shadowing? Oh. Maybe we need to put that here? I don't know. We'll find the verbiage.
Yes, I'm sorry. To enforce the law, yes, I would. As a parent, I actually did that for one of my child, and they were not even in high school. They were just in elementary school. You know, as a parent, I think it is part of our responsibility to ensure that our children are adequately educated, you know, and be ready when they go out into the world, because you're not going to be there to babysit them their whole entire life. So giving them that opportunity, and if it means shadowing your child, why not?
What do you think, Will? Okay, good. And the reason why I asked that, because if you notice in the bill, I didn't write that in because some folks actually feel that already you're going to charge me, they're going to go to school. Well, maybe we need to reach out and do the Midas touch now. I'm going to touch you, get in with your child. 16 to 18 is critical. And you all know that. We're finding them at D-Way, we're finding them everywhere else. And if they're not caught, they just got lucky, you know, when they're out there committing crimes. So I'd like to thank you all for attending, and we will add that verbiage. We just have to, right, Senator Castro, we have to figure out how we word shadowing, or what is a proper word to use. Maybe we would come up with something. Before it goes to the floor, we'll add it, amend it in the committee, and I think we have your numbers. I know Mr. Garrido's number. I know where to find him. He's easy. And you know, Mr. Mark Mendiola was here, the chairman of the board. I wish he had stayed, because I was going to say, he needs to figure out a way how to maybe get you folks as interns in the school. And maybe, you know how they do the scare tactic to not go to jail? Well, the scare tactic to remember that you got to complete it, or else you're not going to be able to compete in the world. That's straight up. Go ahead and think that you're cool, and all that stuff, but when you don't graduate, you can't get you really can't get a real job. You can't progress. Yeah, you can't compete. Can't even join the military. I'm 26 years in the Army. Senator Castro.
Speaking of the military, and thank you for your service, Mr. Chairman, a member of the panel here is about to receive her commission, so I want to congratulate you in front of the people of Guam as a commissioned officer of the United States Army, and I certainly will pray that you come back and serve Guåhan and the Marianas when you're ready.
See, Army strong, Army retired. No fault to the Air Force, Navy. But, I'd like to thank you all for being here. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? There being none. Oh, you would like? No? You're like, no? Would you like to? Okay. There being none, the committee will here's the support. The committee will conclude the roundtable between the government of Guam. Will complete the hearing, and that we'll continue to receive testimonies for the next few days. By Tuesday, I'll wrap this one up, this bill, and submit it to Committee on Rules so that if there's a session and it can go to the floor, I will ask it to be put on the floor. Okay? Please address your written testimony to the Committee on Education, Finance, Taxation, and submit it via email to Senator Joe S. San Augustine at gmail.com. My office is located at Rand Care Building, 2nd floor, Suite 3, 761 South Marine Corps Drive, Tamuning, Guam. Sijos Masi for your attendance and participating in today's hearing. And for those at home, thank you and good morning. It is now 9:46, and you all enjoy your day. Thank you.